What's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk here, and I have an amazing guest who's grown a really big agency well over the 8-figure mark. And we're going to talk about his path to starting the agency, to growing it, to scaling it. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
What up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, excited to have you on. So tell us who you are and what do you guys do?
Hi, my name's Scott Harkey. Run a stable of agencies. Anything from a film company to a research company to a digital social agency, and been doing it about 13 years. We have 170-ish employees, corporately based in Phoenix, but also have an office in Las Vegas. So do a lot of clients within entertainment, casinos, hotels, and then, other stuff, CPG, healthcare, faking it till we make it, until people keep hiring us. Yeah, they continue to hire us for 13 years, and then sometimes we get fired too, but that's okay.
That's awesome. How did you start the agency?
Funny story. So I started the agency with my second cousin once removed. He was in the agency business. I was selling radio. His dad, my uncle, was in the agency, great uncle, was in the agency business for 25 years. And I wanted to be in the agency business, and literally no one would hire me because they thought I was a radio sales guy or a billboard sales guy. So he and I talked, and he just lost his biggest client and his partner left. And he had one other small client that I think produced $8,000 in revenue. It was the Arabian Horse Show. He filed the paperwork the next day, and we started an agency in his kitchen table and worked out of his little condo in Scottsdale with 2 cats. So I had a lot of motivation to get more clients so we could have an office, and I wasn't in the condo with cats.
There's nothing wrong with cats. I mean,
hey, I love cat. It was fine, but you have a meeting, and you have to this was before meeting for coffee was cool. We had to fake it to hey, you want to meet for coffee? Because we they couldn't come to our office. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cats would jump on them.
Yeah, what? You're at a kitchen table. This is you're in an apartment, bro. What's going on?
I remember my first address for Solar Velocity. It was 925 Canterbury Street, Suite 250, because I was in apartment 250.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we got an office after that. There was bail bondsmen and some weird clientele, but I was just happy to have an office. I did not care. So it's funny to see where we've come now. We're all have a high-end taste now of office and stuff. Dude, we've scrapped this out, man.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the different couple stages that you've probably gone through. So how long did it take you guys to get over the million mark? And what was the biggest challenge for getting over the million mark?
Yeah, that's the hardest part, honestly. I think it took us, I remember leaving radio, and I was pretty confident. I was oh, I've got 3 or 4 clients. I know are going to come with me. And none of them did, and I could remember my first client was a personal injury attorney that I had to beg to hire us. And he was spending a lot of money in the market, and he was insane. But it probably took us 3 years to get over the million mark in fees. It was so hard, dude. That's why I always tell people when they're starting out, give yourself a runway, give yourself a long runway, because it's not the smart that I think make it in entrepreneurship. I think it's just the people that have the longest amount of time to get this big plane up off the ground. And then once you get off the ground, that's what people I think it's overstated, but hockey stick growth, then it can go. But getting that sucker off the ground it's horrible. You need other jobs almost, I was still selling billboards part-time. I had some rental houses. I was hustling anything I could get to scrounge money just to make sure that we had enough longevity to get this thing going.
What were some of the different things that allowed the plane to take off?
Uh, I think there's something inside of us that like you almost have to earn confidence in this business, because people are freaking smart and they smell our bullshit, you know, and like if you don't believe your own bullshit, like no one else is going to believe it. So I think for me, you know, it's about like doing the work and failing enough times to where, you know, like you're up at an at-bat, like you're in a pitch, or like, you know, a business so well, like, you know, you're going to make somebody money. Like until you are sitting across from a client and you are so confident that you can drive a business outcome, then I don't think you're going to get any business. And for me, that stupid personal injury attorney, like I knew everything about his business. I had studied everything. I knew how I was going to buy the media. I knew how the spots were going to be different. I knew everything I got, and he knew it because I literally told him that, like, if we didn't improve his business, I would give all my fees back to him. I like had to beg this guy. And then the same thing happened when we won the Arizona lottery account. It was a $55 million account in Phoenix, in Arizona. I studied the lottery business for 2 years before the pitch was up. Like I had lottery consultants. Like I literally have a master's degree in lottery business. So when the pitch was up, I had talked to like every former marketing director. I talked to everyone. I looked at every former pitch. And I think like in pitches, there's a vibe of confidence that you've done the homework, and that's when you're going to get business. And when you get business, obviously that's when you start becoming profitable. You can't, you know, cut your way into profitability in the agency business. It's about getting business and then keeping it. But initially it's about getting business. And I think you have to have like a real sense of confidence when you're going into a pitch like that.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking kind of the pre-show. It's kind of like, well, we think we do the best work, or we know we do the best work. And I was like, we should all think that, because if you know you don't do the best work, like that's the problem. Like so many people come to me and they're like, Jason, how do you scale an agency? How do you grow? How'd you get to where you're at? I was like, we knew how to do something really well, and then we positioned that to the audience that we could do it really well for. That's it. And then that's how we were able to get the plane taking off and off the ground. But then it's kind of like, all right, now you got the turbulence, right? That's smacking the plane back down, or you know, it's hitting the tarmac. So what was the hardest part of scaling the agency for you to date?
I think just in general dealing with failures. And I think in our business, the worst thing is perfectionism. And that's hard to say, right? Because in one hand, we're like, we need to do the best work. But on the other hand, I think perfectionism is a real disease in this business. And you can't be in this business if you have that, because nothing's going to be perfect. And there's going to be tons of stuff broken. And so I would say every year there's like a new failure learning that I have, that we've seen, and it's always different. And so I think the hardest part of scaling an agency is not being prepared for like the new failure you're going to face that year, but having some maybe general skills or maybe some personal development that will just allow like perseverance through the failures that come. Whether like this year for me, it's been you know, agency turnover and the Great Resignation. Last year, it was a major minority partner fight. You know, the year before that, it was a ton of client loss. Year before that, it was like mid-level managers that I was trying to empower and you know, get less hands off on certain things and working more, you know, on the business and not in the business. So it's like every year there's like something new. In the early stages, it was like just trying to literally get business, anything. In some years it was, I think I lost in one year like 60 pitches. Like, why was I pitching 60 pieces of business? I don't know, but I lost 60 pieces of business. And I think like each year, the learning from those failures catapults like to the next form of growth. And I think, and like we all want like just a steady Eddie kind of growth, but this business is so volatile. It typically is like this, but like the trend line is like this. And I always noticed like my worst year prior ends up being my best year the next year, right? Like it's preparing me for the next step that I think we need to get to. So I think that's the hardest thing is you're like in an octagon and you don't know what punches are going to be thrown, but you've got to like figure shit out and kind of like get counselors, get mentors, get coaches, listen to the industry and like figure out your move and your counter punch when those come through. I think that's the hardest part. Long answer. But.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like Mike Tyson says, you never know how you're going to take a punch till you get hit. And
yeah, for sure.
And, we get hit all the time. It's just
all the time. Well, people are smart in this business. Like I'm not sure there's a business where there's more smart people that like I've ever worked with, like whether it's been client side or other industries or lawyers or doctors. I talk to really smart agency people and they blow me away. They're freaking smart. And I think, and they're planners. Like a lot of us we want to have a plan. That's the business we're in. We plan for clients. And so just to your point, when you're in the firefighter, you get punched, the plan's out the window and you're scrapping. And I think that can really rattle people. And I think just the tenacious kind of scrappy, kind of street fighter mentality, people end up pushing through that. And the perfectionism, like, hey, I had my perfect plan and now I need a new plan. And like the freak out people, like this business isn't for you. You're not going to make it.
Yeah. I'd always have a North Star, but I would never have a plan, right? Like I'm the type of person that when I'm building something, I always have extra parts because I'm more efficient. That's how I like to look at it. And, I look at the agency business for me and even, the community that we've built over the past 7 years. It's always excelled when chaos has happened everywhere else.
For sure. Yep.
And I'm always and the same thing, like what I was telling you on the pre-show, I'm like, I really don't have anything planned to ask you. It's more just a conversation. I'm really better at that. If I have to plan it out, I'm kind of like, what's the next question I'm answering? And I can't be in the mode now. Now that's just me. But I think kind of the moral of the story is you have to figure out what's the truth or what's the North Star of where you think you want to go. And then you start bringing on the right people to help you with that and realizing, and I think you probably will say this too, of you're not going to be able to do everything. Like your agency has grown to the multiple 8 figures of where it's at now is probably because you brought the right people in and you probably said, who do I need to bring in rather than how? Am I stretching or is that right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, I think for me, like certainly we've done like every 2 years we'll do a branding, workshop for ourselves and, we'll reevaluate mission, vision, values and what we're trying to do. And certainly that's been successful, but I think when I'm at my best, I know when our agency's at our best, we're open to a reset every day, every month, every year. And I think people think when there's a reset, like you're starting over. And I think like a reset, like I remember we were playing like, Nintendo. I'm older, but like, I used to play Nintendo and there's that little, yeah. Okay. So you're older than me. Like Nintendo, there's a little reset button, and like you would get to a point in a game and you're just like, screw this. And you like hit the reset button, you just start over and you don't start over, where the like little points in the game are that like trip you up. And so you can get through. And I think, I think for even my life personally, my business life, like when I'm okay with like a reset, and knowing I'm not fully starting over because I have a wealth of knowledge. We have a wealth of knowledge in agency and processes and clients and we're just resetting. It's more like a digital campaign and like an optimization kind of piece to it. Yeah. And I understand the North Star and I agree. I think there should be a North Star. But I also think kind of being willing to just reset things like everybody. Hey, let's freaking reset real quick. Like, what are we doing here? And not be so, not like dying the sword on some plan or some North Star that you think's like perfect. Like if we would have done what Mirren and the industry would have said we should have done, we would have no casinos and hotels and clients, like not a Vegas office. We'd like be doing CPG, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now like 60% of our business is that. So I think just being open-minded to where the world and energy and your capabilities and your purpose like is going to take you.
Very cool. What now that we talked about kind of getting the plane off the ground, let's talk about, there's a lot of people listening going, all right, I'm in the multi-million dollar mark, but I want to get over the 8-figure mark for some odd reason.
Yeah.
They want to do that.
Yeah.
Because they think there's sunshine and rainbows over there. But if you had to go back to yourself when you were around the 3 million mark, what's a single thing that you would do in order to get to the 8-figure mark?
It's a great question. I think I could. I'm a wild card. I think I could have been a little bit more strategic on growth. I think I've wasted a ton of money on bad pitches. I think I've convinced myself so many times that we can get a piece of business, which we couldn't. We didn't have the capabilities, we didn't have the experience, we didn't have the relationship. And I think I could have got to 8 figures. So that's like, okay, so like you're talking like, I get confused on I know that's kind of your terminology, but like I'm at like 5 million in fees. I'm trying to get to 10, right? How could I got there? You know what I know now?
Yep.
Yeah, I wasted money pitching. Like I should have only pitched what we had business pitching or key relationships that I had. And every time I can convince myself that we can get any pitch.
Were you doing RFPs?
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. I've done it all. I've done.
You know what RFP stand for, right?
What?
Request for fucking punishment.
It's so true, man. I know. No, I mean, and actually, this digital agency we bought, Nomadic, they laugh at me. I mean, they have so many brands within, Fortune 1000 companies they can't even talk about because they're like, here's it's 500 grand. You want us to do this, and this, or not? We don't report hours. We don't do RFPs. Kind of blew my mind.
That's how we were.
It's smart. It's how it should be. Like people, you need to build confidence with CMOs and people. They just doing blank RFPs rarely works, and even once you get them, they're bad clients. Although I have had good success too. I mean, but it's got to be the right ones. Like I pitched Monster, and it cost me probably $1 million. And then like everybody, it's like, oh, you finished second, and I was devastated. But that's I should have
$1 million on a pitch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the?
So I've wasted.
How much of an engagement would that have won you?
Oh man, it would have won me probably 3 to 5 million in fees. I mean, this business is like, we have a lot of casinos, like Wynn Resorts, our client, Virgin's our client.
Put it all on black.
Exactly.
You did it. You did it on that one.
Everyone red, but I do think, so I say that, but I do think you have to have some bets, you have to have.
Yes, you do.
If I wouldn't have made some crazy bets, like we wouldn't be where we're at. So it's hard to, but there's definitely some really crazy bets that I think if I would have taken back, especially early in our cycle, we weren't ready with the processes. We didn't have the talent capabilities. I think we could have got to that 5 to 10 million faster. It's certainly, and then the second piece to that is I think I've held on to unprofitable accounts. That 80-20 rule always exists, right? I've probably had 3 to 5 unprofitable, low dollar, pain in the ass clients that I didn't let go quick enough. If I would have taken those two things.
Walk me through the mental on, because I find that a huge, like, I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Like, what was the turning point? What was the switch that you were like, dude, I'm losing too much money on this client. Get rid of him.
I just think more data and awareness for internal operations, right? Like we had better systems to identify it more. and you're not making biased decisions. You're making more data-driven decisions. So we have an analytics group that really we analyze this shit really well now. And so it's not like, oh, this is a $500,000 fee client. No, this is a $72 an hour client. We only make money at $92. So your $200,000 client, you make $250 an hour on. They're actually great. So just having better awareness for that, and I think agencies should go through this process monthly and really have their finger on the pulse. And most likely everyone has the 80-20 rule. Every year I've done it, I've had it. And I think I was losing out on organic opportunities with my big clients, and I'm holding on to shitty low dollar amount clients and low dollar per hour clients that also were a pain in the ass and was just killing us. And I was burning people out. If I would have figured that out earlier, probably even more so than pitching bad business, I could have got to 8 figures faster. But if I would have done both those things, damn it, I could have. Man, I probably would be at like 50 million in fees right now. Now that I think about it, shit.
Well, we have mastermind members all the time, and they're always looking to scale faster. And one of them, we do this exercise quite often. And we identified for one of the mastermind members, there was a number of different clients that he needed to literally double the rates in order to make it profitable.
Oh, fuck,
And so literally we came up with a game plan. We just said, hey, just chat with them, double the rates. If you lose half of them, okay. And that's what we were fully expecting. He retained all of them. And literally by just talking to them, he increased his MMR by 60K.
What's MMR? I'm not used to that terminology.
Monthly reoccurring revenue.
Okay. Yep.
Right. By just doing nothing. So that turned out to be what, 700,000 extra a year. And if you just do that, like, I'm glad you walked us through all of that, because at the end of the day, it's about pricing. And we suck at pricing. We suck. Yeah. I do. I've learned a lot around that. And just what you said, I agree with. Like, you just go to the clients and be like, dude, I'm getting crushed. Like, I'm out, or we got to change. Yep.
And either they go away or you get the rate.
Awesome. Well, Scott, this has all been amazing. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
Oh, man. I do think that the industry's changing a lot right now. And like you said, I think that's our time to shine, honestly. This year, this has been my best year ever, with all the chaos. But I do think that, our client dissatisfaction rate in this industry is still at an all-time high. I think it's in the 80 percentile. Basically, our clients say we suck as an industry at serving their needs. And I think we've got to solve that better. I think there is a real opportunity. And I think for the first time ever, we're seeing CMOs and VPs of marketing, we're seeing our clients and us have more in common than ever. They all have agencies and we run agencies. So I think we can learn a lot from each other. And I think the new model is really trying to find gaps that they have, we certainly have, and being respected in the industry, I think means a lot more. And it's just really, it's really interesting, I think, time for the business. And I think the people that really run good agencies or doing things the right way have a ton of opportunity, because I think a lot of the bad practitioners are getting weeded out of the business. It's getting too hard for them to survive. So I guess I would just leave the audience with like a sense of real optimism and encouragement, and especially for independents, especially people grinding it out. The publics are so fucked right now. Good friends of mine run a lot of great agencies, and some of them are amazing agencies, and they're not going away. Let's not kid ourselves. But I think for the first time in our business, there's never been a better time to be an independent agency and to offer real solutions in a humble, cool vibe way to brand marketers. And the playing field is probably more level than it's been in a long time. So that's a lot of fun. That's what gets me really excited.
Yeah, I interviewed someone and they did a survey. They were doing a lot of research, and agencies felt for trust levels, agencies fell between politicians and used car salesmen.
Yep.
So let that all sink in, guys. It's
Yeah.
about building trust and reputation that it takes years to build, but seconds to knock down. So think about
100%.
that. What's the agency website people can go and check you guys out?
Yeah, so our main agency is ohpartners.com. A couple of our big sister agencies would be nomadic.com and matterfilms.com. And so you can see some of the additional agencies we have, but the main one is OH Partners. So
awesome. Well, Scott, thanks so much for coming on the show. And if you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to be around amazing agency owners that are constantly chatting about the industry, sharing what's working, sharing what's not working, be able to see the things that you're not able to see, I want all of you to go to digitalagencyelite.com. Now, this is our exclusive mastermind that is only for amazing agency owners. So go to digitalagencyelite.com, and until next time, have a swank day.